very passionate about, which is dyslexia. The reason that I'm qualified to talk about it is, well, it's a long story and I won't bore you with the details, but basically I have dyslexia in the family, and through my work journey I came across the condition of dyslexia, and it was really a bit of a light bulb moment. And what I do with dyslexia is I run something called the Children's IDL Centre, where I do a lot of one-to-one work with children and adults and see great results. And then out of that work, I developed a brand of books, but it's not a sales pitch, so I shouldn't be telling you that, should I? So, but anyway, I've been on various courses and I've got lots of experience of actually working with children and adults, and I feel I really get inside their heads and really understand what the condition is all about, and I do make a difference. And I'm delighted that Foreign gives me the opportunity to actually go around and give talks and to help raise awareness of a subject that's close to my heart, because sometimes if people haven't been touched by dyslexia, they haven't a clue what it's about, as I didn't when I was in that place. So my talk today is called Dyslexia, Disability, Difficulty, Disease or Difference. And if you have problems reading it or spelling it, you might be dyslexic. Anyway, I like my presentation to be very interactive, because I think we learn better that way, and it is also a dyslexia-friendly way of doing it. Just standing and talking at people for 20 minutes doesn't really work for many people, probably most of us, however interesting, fascinating the speaker might be. So I'm going to get you to do a lot of the work today, which I think is great. So on your tables, you should have piled these bits of paper. Now, don't fight over them. I've done them in different colours, so if you want a particular colour, then you can negotiate. If you don't care, just grab the nearest one. Okay. Now, one of the reasons for doing it different colours, A, it's a bit of fun. B, it might get you arguing amongst yourselves, get a bit of energy in the room. But see, it's also about being dyslexia friendly, because I was talking at coffee time before breakfast, somebody said, oh, it's about colours on paper, and that can be one of the things that can really help somebody. But anyway, there's two sides to it, and does anybody need a pen, or does anybody got a few spares? We're going to start on this side, if you wouldn't mind, which we've got the dyslexia is, alright? It's got pictures, it's got things to fill in, you can do what you can do, some stuff. You don't have to join in, but obviously if you do, I think you'll get more out of the talk. So, on the back, just, I know it's a bit choppy and changing, that's the title of my talk. I just want to pose that question to you now, before we start properly. So, when somebody says the word dyslexia to you, would you say it's a disability, a difficulty, disease or difference? I just want you to think about it, not necessarily shout out any answers unless people want to do it. Lots of D words, lots of negativity around this, okay? And I hope by the end of it you'll see that actually dyslexia is something that's positive, something to be celebrated. So I want you to think what your first impression is about the word dyslexia, what you would say it is. And then at the end of the talk, I want you to revisit that question, and I want you to think, have you changed your opinion on the basis of what I've hopefully helped you to see? And if not, that's fine, you know, and if I have, hopefully I've helped you to see a bit more potential. So, having thought about that, if you could go back to the bubbly bit here, dyslexia is, could you just jot down inside that speech bubble, when somebody says dyslexia to you, what comes to mind, okay? If nothing comes to mind, you can leave it blank. Yeah? So just scribble something down. It's not a test, by the way, that comes later then. Anybody want to volunteer an answer?
Miss Spelling.
Okay, spelling.
Cannot make sense of letters, words or sentences.
Okay, anyone from this table?
I think it's additional to that, isn't it? Because it's things like left and right as well.
Can be, yeah.
Seeing where it's backward, well, it's backward.
Yeah.
It's not the understanding of the actual.
Give ideas on down on paper, yes. Yes,
Make more creative in other things.
definitely. Brilliant. Dyslexia is a vast topic, and obviously there's some understanding of it in the room already. I do several talks on this, and really 10-15 minutes I can't do justice to the whole subject. There's one test on the internet which I think lists 72 different possible symptoms of dyslexia, so it's quite a lot. It actually comes from the Greek, so we have a bit Greek lesson now, and you notice I've colour coded it, this is all very sort of deliberate. Dys means difficulty with, and lexia means words. So the traditional definition of dyslexia is difficulty with words, because the already has come out from people is there's a lot more than that. And it isn't all about difficulties, that's the other thing, which I hope by the end of the talk you'll realise. Okay? It is about left and right, it's about left brain thinking, it's about sequencing, it's about all sorts of things. Okay? So that's good, so obviously I've got a little bit of an understanding in the room already. Now what I'd like you to do is actually experience what it's like to be dyslexic. Well, sort of. Firstly, quickly read through to yourself these 2 lines. Okay? Done it? Yeah, right. Easy, difficult, not sure? Easy. Well, everyone find it easy, doesn't it? Was it as easy as normally reading something? No. Okay. Some people really struggle with this. Some people find it easy to go reading forwards. No. But what I'm just trying to do in a very limited way is say to you, okay, you're trying to do a task that's normally automatic to you, but suddenly it's not automatic. So someone with dyslexia who struggles with reading, they may not, but say that's an aspect of it. You give them something to read, you give them a work, an email, a report for work, say read this, give me an answer, whatever, and they're struggling to decode. They're not doing it automatically, whereas you would. Okay, that's going to cause a problem. Now, obviously, I've got a very bright bunch here in Banbury, very clever people. It's not an issue, but it might be. But imagine if it is an issue, and think about all the situations in work and life, where you're going back, where you have to process information quickly. You can't do it. Does that make you thick? Not necessarily. We're just talking about a particular way of processing information. Yeah? Okay, well, you've all passed that one, so that's good. Now, writing. Now, I don't think it's going to be so easy. Could you pick up the pen in the hand, your non-dominant hand? Okay. So the one you don't normally write with, okay? So if you're right-handed, put your left, and then left with right hand, okay? And, okay, I'm going to give you something to write down, and do it quickly, no hesitation, deviation. So dyslexia is a unique blend of talents and difficulties. Have you finished yet? I'm not repeating it. I hope you're spelling it right and writing straight lines.
No pressure.
No, I'm not telling you again. Okay, you don't need to get to the end. How was that for you, as they say?
Frustrating.
Yeah.
Frustrating. Good. I'll get you a response. Right. Anything else?
I think mine's really good.
Well, I find mine's better than one at time. Yeah. How did it make you feel? Just keep it together, please.
I was about 5 years old.
Yeah, a bit slow, a bit 5 years old. Make you a bit angry, get a bit, why should I write this? Bit pressured. Not very nice, was it? Yeah? Not quite nice, really. But so think about what you normally. Can we sort of keep it together, please? Yeah. When you're normally writing down, presumably you don't think too much about it. You just write it down. Some I'm asking, do you do something that's not automatic? Reading and writing should be automatic, shouldn't they? I think how much we use them, but they're not for some people. So if you're dyslexic and writing is an issue for you, forming the letters, doing them quickly, putting them back to front, get them in the wrong sequence, in the pressure of the moment, you just can't do it that quickly. Yeah, that's going to be a major stress. So in a work situation, you've got a work colleague who somehow you can stand up, do a fantastic presentation, but get them to write something down under pressure. If they can't do it, they're like 2 different people, aren't they? And that's often the case with dyslexia, is that actually there's this difference. So they're really good at one thing, and they're really sort of low in another thing. Okay? And the definition I gave you, which probably got lost in transmission, okay, which is another thing that happens. You give them something to write because they're so focused on the process of doing it, they can't remember. I mean, probably half you don't remember what I've asked you to write. Would that be fair? Okay. So what I said was, dyslexia is a unique blend of talents and difficulties. And I really like that definition. And it tends to be around the area of words, but also left and right, brainless and all the rest of it. We're all a unique blend of talents and difficulties, but there's so much negativity around dyslexia. And I've actually seen a lot more positivity around it. One of the talks I do is the gift of dyslexia. Without that, there's a lot of parting. I get parents phone me up, and I've got one parent at the moment whose child comes to me. She said, "You're a last resort. I don't know where else to go." And the schools are supposed to be helping, yeah. And there's this despair around it, but it doesn't have to be. As I can't remember your name, but before said it's about creativity. There's fantastic skills. Anyway, I don't know how much longer I've got for that final test. Yeah. So just quickly on the back, who is affected? Do we think 1%, 10%, 30%, or 50% of the population? 30. The conservative statistic, like I said, is 10%, but I think most people who work with people who have dyslexia or similar issues would say it's around 20%. I think most of us probably have a dyslexic tendency or two. The fact you can't get your left or right, you get lost coming to places like this, doesn't make you dyslexic necessarily. More for male or female? More for male. Different studies again. Some people say more male, but then that could be the male thing in words. But yeah, I won't go there. Children or adults? Yeah, you don't tend to outgrow it, but there are ways that you can obviously compensate. Some people obviously have methods that they can, you know, cure it to some degree. Above or below average intelligence? Not necessarily, but often. But again, if you've got the person sitting there who's struggling to write down their ideas, they could present as being a bit stupid or a bit slow, a bit lazy, a bit naughty at school. Okay? Born with it or develop it? Yeah. I mean, I think as you get older, you feel more dyslexic, your working memory goes and so on. Okay. There's a lot more that I could do with this. The VAK, I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave for another time. So I'll be back another time. I can do a talk on that. But thank you. Thank you. So back to the question. Dyslexia, disability, difficulty, disease or difference. Has anybody changed their mind? Wait. What do people think? Just quick, perhaps one per table.
I thought it was difficulty, but I've got the
Difference, great. This table. Sorry?
Difference.
Yeah. Go on.
Difference.
Excellent. Yeah. Right answer. Okay, thank you very much for your time.